So you're going to be around the finals. We're loath to talk about it. We were saying we bitched when there's no hockey, and now there's hockey tonight. We got to watch this freaking game. Yeah. I'll speak for myself. I have more, if you want to call it trepidation, fear. Just the Oilers have looked so poised, and they've controlled games, and for the better part of series, 5 games, even LA, after they got off the mat at 2-0 down, they cruised to a 6-game. They look so composed. That's just the word I keep throwing out there. They could
literally be undefeated in the last 2 rounds. Like Vegas scored.
Well, Vegas scored off
seconds.
like with Draisaitl's stick.
And Dallas
went wild on power play binge in the 3rd period.
No, they also got some overtime wins, but they've been in control basically since game 2/3 of the way through game 3, game 4 against LA.
They have been, but and I would argue that Edmonton's had a tougher pathway than Florida. You know,
maybe.
Like, I mean, Tampa's a hell of a team. I think Toronto's a good team. But I think Carolina ran out of gas.
Well, let me ask you, because we talk about it, obviously. What is it about Dallas and Vegas? They just looked so spent and done for the better parts of both of those series. Is that Edmonton's doing? Because on paper, Vegas and Dallas, they're powerhouses. They were nothing to speak of in rounds 2 and 3.
Well, you know what? I know it always comes back to goaltending, but that's the one thing that Edmonton was able to get to. Darcy Kemper's up for the Vezina. He gave up 5 goals once this season. Edmonton got him for 5 goals like 3 games in a row for fun. Aiden Hill, up and down season, but down the stretch, really stable, won a cup. He's proven winner, and Edmonton got to him. Now, they got to him a little bit greasier. They got traffic and, got him off his game and that, but like they got to him. Jake Ottinger, statistically, I believe, was the best goaltender in the playoffs heading into that series. Every one of his games was a quality start. He hadn't had a poor start.
Heading into round 3, it was like him and Freddie Anderson were ahead of the field.
Yes, you're right. Freddie Anderson as well. Yeah. And they got to him. And he looked quite ordinary or worse. And so that's the one thing. You're right. Like the other team, like you can break it down, the mechanics, and I didn't see a lot of the top players for Dallas show up. I think it was Edmonton's speed. It was their physicality. I think their D were really good at moving the puck quickly to get out of their zone. So they weren't hemmed in their zone for extended lengths of time. I know this is a weird thing to say. I swear to God that John Klingberg helped stabilize their D.
Yes.
Yeah, they needed a puck mover. I think it was Jeff Jackson spoke somewhere after round 3.
He spoke in the break and said, or in one of the in-between periods, that he said that Stan Bowman was bullish on getting another puck-moving D and not a defender. And they got Woolman. So they've got a puck-moving D on each pairing. Mm-hmm. You've got Bouchard, you've got Woolman, and you've got Klingberg. And Kulak can move the puck too, can skate. And Stetcher can move and skate if he's in it. And Ekholm, like their D are mobile and can move the puck. And that's all they need to do. So I look at it, they weren't. Now, Florida's a different beast because Florida forechecks like madmen. And their D are aggressive on the strong side. And they're always pinching down with somebody on top. Now, I would say if Edmonton is going to have success, you got to have quick puck movement right out of your zone into the neutral zone and passing with speed. And I'll give you an example. Game 7, Toronto, Florida. Florida was over-aggressive. Toronto had 3 breakaways in that first period. That could have been it. Now it was Lorentz, it was Nylander, and it was the other guy they traded for from Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Scott Lawton. Had that have been Matthews, Marner, and Nylander, the score might have looked different. Now, you give those chances to 97, 29, 93, 91, guys like that, they might score on those chances. So that's what I'm looking at is Edmonton has been really efficient at getting out of their zone and moving in with speed. Can Florida combat that and make them play in their own zone a lot more? That's where Edmonton could get in trouble.
If I told you team got to the Stanley Cup Final with an .896 save percentage, would you believe me?
Yes.
Here.
But I would, because keep in mind, everyone thinks 92. I think the league average was 902, 903 this year. Like it wasn't over. Like it's 9 out of 10 now. It's gone back. It's reverted back. It wasn't for years. It was 918, maybe up to 920. You see guys that are, but for the league average is 9 out of 10 for the most part. And what they need is 9 out of 10 goaltending. And that's really because they're the highest. Both these teams are the highest scoring teams in the playoffs. They're both averaging about 4 goals a game, correct?
Yep.
So it's a race to 4. If you're going to give up 30 shots, you get 9 out of 10, that's 3. So it's a race to 4. Now, if you can tighten up the game, then it's a race to 3. But that's what I'm seeing. And that's not anything brilliant. That's just statistics. It's there. Each team can score 4. So, and the save percentage is around 9. So that's what I'm looking at.
Well, and you've got Skinner and Pickard. Both guys have 6 wins. That's not, you don't see that very often going into a cup final where one of the finalists.
Be like Pittsburgh and Carolina, the only teams I can think of that got that far.
Philadelphia had
Bouchard and Leighton, maybe. Yeah.
Scott Darling gave some games before Crawford took over there in Chicago, one of Chicago's runs. Really? Remember Darling played, I think, the first played game 2 to 6 with Chicago against him, something like that. And listen, it's weird. Because if Edmonton finishes this off, which I don't know, it's a coin flip. People are like, it's just Destin McDavid's going to get it done. I'm like, have they watched Florida play? They're a hell of a team. So I will say, if Edmonton does win, you can look at the turning points of, Byfield not getting it out. Game 3 there. That could have made it. That could have really been a dagger.
Game 4.
The goalie challenge.
Game 3.
Those are 2, because those are critical ones where we could easily be sitting here and going, man, Edmonton had a pretty good team. They just couldn't put it together. Just couldn't. It all didn't come together in time. Klingberg was just settling back in. Kane was just settling back in. Frederick was limping around. RNH didn't have a great season. Hyman didn't have a great season.
Ekholm was out.
Ekholm was out. Skinner was injured down the stretch. McDavid and Draisaitl, by their standards, Draisaitl was the only guy who had a great year. McDavid didn't even have a great year by his standards. So you look at it like they all came together at the right time. And it was almost like they were like, wake us up when the playoffs start. And it took them a few games before they got going, and now they're going. But this long break, I have no idea what to expect tonight.
There's a lot of similarities. Like Florida was the same. Like, I don't know how much they cared about anything after the 4 nations. They were happy to get guys rest. They didn't care if they were a 2 or 3 seed.
They didn't.
I think, what are we looking at, 2-3 seeds here? Because I think Tampa was chasing Toronto for the top seed. They were like 2-3 seeds in the division in the final. And both are like, yeah, this is just the dress rehearsal. Like, our best is ahead. We don't care. We're going to get right. We'll bring everyone back when it matters.
It's funny you say that, because Paul Maurice kind of stopped short saying that to me down the stretch. They did a game in Ottawa, and I had a good chat with him out in the hallway before the game. And he goes, Jamie, we're not playing bad. But he goes, we're not there. Like he could almost say, like, and even talking to Rob Tallis, the goalie coach, he's like, we're right there, but he goes, we're not, it's almost like they weren't invested. They were just playing, hey, it's a Thursday night in Ottawa, we're playing. And that night they were unbelievable. Actually, I think either Allmark or Forsberg stole the game, because there was back-to-back games where Ottawa's goaltenders stole the game. Because it was Tampa that put up 29 high-danger chances, and I think Forsberg won the game 2-1, something ridiculous, and same thing against Florida. You could see the framework of really amazing teams, but they just kind of were coasting. And Edmonton was the same thing. Now, Kasperi Kapanen, they're getting guys that are chipping in, but I would argue it's Draisaitl. They put Draisaitl with Podkolzin and Kapanen, and he goes, you want to play with me? Play straight line, play fast, and get to the net, and I'll make you look good. That's kind of what's happened, and they do look good. So, be interesting to see. I think I look at factors on both sides. I think Marchand is always going to factor in. I think Tkachuk knows he's always going to try and factor in. He started to look healthier against Carolina. He didn't look very good against Toronto at all, and he was a non-factor really against. I know he scored early on against Tampa, but I didn't think he was overly dominant. but I think he looks healthier a lot now. So it's a coin flip for me, guys. I could see this going 7, and I really do. I think both teams are really good and possibly better than last year.
Hey, buddies, thanks for watching. We appreciate it. Also, if you could throw in a like and subscribe, it does help us out with what it is we are doing. And check out more at flamesnation.ca.